Ever since I started reading and watching One Piece, I remember the exact moment that Wano was introduced all the way back in Thriller Bark. I was hyped. Not hyped at all knowing what Wano is as a place, but just the idea that there's this seemingly Japan-based, possibly horror-based island later on down the line. I thought it was just going to be like a demon yokai paradise, and honestly, it had me really, really excited. I thought horror-based, especially so because we were introduced to it in Thriller Bark, which was based on a ton of Western horror. So, when we got even further information about Big Mom coming to Wano with her ability to create things from her soul, I thought that having yokai in Wano was an absolute confirmation. Now, to be fair, we weren't exactly confirmed about this until way, way later on Onigashima, when Big Mom first came out in her new outfit and we saw she was surrounded by yokai. And personally, as someone who has predicted this idea for hundreds and hundreds of chapters, I was just so excited to see that it finally came true. So, especially after the last chapter, which I'll definitely be discussing in this video, I've noticed that there's been a lot of love shown to these yokai, not just through the things that Big Mom has made, but also through many, many of the smile gifters that are in Kaido's crew. So I just wanted to give some highlights on some that I thought were my personal favorites, and some that I really did not expect, but really, really enjoyed. So this is partially inspired by a video that Tekking did 2 years ago, where he tried to name every yokai in Wano at the time. But for me, I'm just going to highlight ones that I thought were really, really well done and integrated into the story almost so seamlessly that if you didn't know the yokai, it would just feel believable since they're a member of Kaido's crew most of the time. So, hope you enjoyed the video, and you get to hear me spiel about stupid, really niche details that I just found really, really endearing. So, hope you enjoy. Now, some of the most blatantly obvious yokai references so far were some of the first ever shown in the arc. And one that I thought was really, really cool as soon as she showed up was the teacher that Orochi had, kind of in placing these rules and ideals that Orochi was the one that saved Wano from Odin, which obviously is complete crap. And I think it's great that they made the teacher a snake-based yokai because, you know, she's acting manipulative. She's acting like a snake, you know, kind of like Orochi and how he acts like a snake, and he has the Orochi devil fruit. So I thought that was really cool, how she had a Rokurokubi kind of origin. Thought it was really, really neat, and especially so because I'm pretty certain she showed up in Black Maria's room as well, which many of them are based specifically on yokai and manipulation. Now, I would say that the most obvious example of this is Kawamatsu, because Kawamatsu is based off of, you know, a kappa, and they're these massively popular kind of yokai in Japanese folklore and culture in general. So I thought making him be revealed to be a fish man was a really, really cool way of going about it, and making sure that this kappa feels really actually pretty believable to exist in the One Piece world. While not in the Wano Country arc itself, one of my favorite yokai references was Monet all the way back on Punk Hazard, who was meant to be essentially the beautiful woman in the snow, but who is revealed to be a murderous monster, luring people to their deaths. Monet is seen in the icy part of Punk Hazard, obviously, in Caesar's lab, and is revealed to have the Yuki Yuki no Mi, which is the snow fruit, is able to morph into snow, and her actual true form that she takes during the snow, she reveals these massive, monstrous fangs, as well as the talons she uses to fight, while holding things and gripping them down and starting to bite into them, try and kill them. I feel as though this was a really clever reference to the Yuki Onna, while not actually being specifically a normal woman in a dress trying to just take them out with complete surprise. What I thought was kind of unfortunate was that Monet actually had died in Punk Hazard. I kind of wish that Monet stuck around, possibly later to be shown in Wano, because of the strong yokai influences that she has in her design. So in the last chapter, chapter 1020, there was a really clever kind of double reference in yokai, which I really did not expect. So originally, Black Maria's weapon, the Wanyudo, is supposedly a yokai with a man's head on a flaming wheel, and I was like, she's using a yokai weapon. But in chapter 1020, we also got a double reveal that it's not actually a Wanyudo itself. It's actually a pug smile user that is inside of the weapon. And I thought that was really cool because that's a follow-up reference to another yokai. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever heard or seen the game Yokai Watch, but it was this massive kind of game that was trying to be pushed throughout the 2010s, early 2010s, I would say. And it was sort of Pokemon-esque, but with yokai, obviously. Now, there was a really popular one they tried to push called Manjimut, and I remember it really specifically because it used to be on buses, which is crazy to think about, really, that it used to be like put on buses for advertisements and stuff. And there was a show on Disney, I'm pretty certain, or Cartoon Network, and I always thought it was so weird looking. But then when I was revealed that the pug smile user was, you know, a pug smile user and not the Wanyudo, I thought, oh my god, it's a reference to that Manjimut thing. So I decided to look it up after reading the chapter, and it actually was. The yokai is actually called the Jin Menken. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not that knowledgeable on how exactly they are pronounced, but hopefully that's correct. And I'll put a picture of what they look like right here, so you could just see the comparisons between. I'll put the Yokai Watch one as well, so you can just see all three of them together at the same time. But continuing to talk about chapter 1020, Black Maria herself is a massive yokai reference, since she is meant to be based on the Jorogumo, which are essentially shape-shifting, manipulative yokai that are very beautiful women, but reveal themselves to be manipulative spider demons that kill people. As you've seen earlier, many types of these yokai are just innocent-looking women who then start to transform into animals or demons or some form of that, because that was a very common type of storytelling monster back in ancient Japan, because they would be focused on stories of revenge and grief. So this is some form of vengeance, you know? And the last points I wanted to talk about were the way that Oda had seamlessly integrated yokai references into abilities or new types of abilities that characters have already had, but now that they're in Wano, they have these cool new yokai-based abilities. The two I wanted to focus on specifically were Brook and Basil Hawkins. Brook using his Soul King ability, where he creates the massive sort of aura ghost-like figure from his literal soul. He is mistaken many times for a Gasha Dokuro, which is a large skeleton monster that is just a really overpowering, just large force, very similar to the numbers in Wano. And for Basil Hawkins, he was able to create this new form of straw monster that he was able to actually create, not just turn himself into. And I thought it was a really clever way of introducing this type of element into Wano and creating more and more references to yokai that feel really seamless. It's called a Wara Ningyo, and that is meant to be a curse doll, which is very in theme with Basil Hawkins' character. All in all, I would say that Oda has created these yokai references within the Wano arc really seamlessly, and I think it's really fun to see all the cute little details that, if you do know about them, I think it's really cool. The way that he just integrates the little bits of folklore and stuff, I find really endearing, and Oda has done this with many other types of stuff, and he's confirmed this in SBSs as well. So I'm just eagerly awaiting to see the next little cute reference, to see how he integrates these types of demons and monsters from Japanese folklore into Kaido's forces. I think it's really interesting, and hoping to see more in the future. So if you like this video, hope you did. And if you did, I'm wondering, what is your favorite type of yokai reference that Oda has put into One Piece so far? And with that, hope you enjoyed and have a good one.